All right, well, let's say,
Oh, let me mute. Sorry. Okay, let me mute all. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself.
well, it's nice to see everybody. Another Tuesday night. I wanted to start off.
Wednesday though.
Oh, it was Wednesday night. Tuesday, Wednesday, it just, they all roll into one. So,
You are.
I wanted to read something. Somebody sent me a book, and it has a little bit of Huang Po in it. So I want to read you the Huang Po statement. Huang Po was an old Zen master in China. I don't know when, maybe the 1500s or the 1200s. But I've always liked him. I got introduced to him when I was very young by a book called The Teachings of Huang Po by a guy named John Blofeld, translated it. You can probably find it for about $1 on Amazon now. So he goes, are you ready? Yeah? I got to read this. So he goes, it's very similar to you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha type thing. Yeah, and this is what happens. If you read a couple of people, they basically say the same thing, in different ways, yeah? But they're trying to get to the same point, but taking many different ways. So he goes here, when people hear the mind teaching, let's call it non-duality, right? When people hear the mind teaching, not the mental state, the mind, big M, they get excited. They think there is something to be got. They then frequently engage in this or that practice, thinking that they will get something. Unfortunately, they do not see that their own mind and the thing they expect to find are one and the same thing. Yes? Please. I'm going to state this part again. So, when people hear the mind teaching, this happens a lot at satsang. So, they hear it, but as soon as there's a hearing of it, there may be a whack, but then the mental state claims to be the hearer of it, yes? And then it's put into a dualistic bent, and then conceptions about it are not helpful, let's put it that way, yeah? So he goes, when people hear the mind teaching, they get excited. They think there is something to be got, yeah? They then frequently engage in this or that practice. I can't read my own writing; it's difficult. In this and that practice, thinking that they will get something. Unfortunately, they do not see that their own mind and the thing they expect to find are one and the same. If you use your mind to try to get something from mind, you will never achieve anything, ever, though you practice like this for billions of years. Yeah? And you caught him on a good day. He usually says it much. He must have been feeling a little compassion. So, if we are that which we're looking for, or we are that's been named and pointed at and described as what we are, if we are that and hearing about it doesn't work, then hearing about it not working has to imply something to us. Yeah, it must lead us to the point that we are what we're looking for, that we are what we're looking for. That's the only reason why looking for it wouldn't work, yeah? If you weren't it, it would probably be a very noble calling to look for it, really, yeah? If you weren't it, but let's say you could become it, you could arrive there on the metaphysical train, you could transcend, you could enter the land of Buddhas, yeah? Then looking for it would be keen. Looking for it would be something to develop and to increase. But because we are what we're looking for it produces a certain effect, yeah? It adds like an inch that seems like a mile. It adds a tick that only adds to another talk and a tick and a talk, yes? So this whole point, again and again, okay, he goes, to try to get something from what you are with what you are is never going to work, yeah? That's all, yeah. I mean, he says it this way, Ramana says it thousands of ways, Nisargadatta probably says it a lot of ways. They're all attempting to imply that because we are that, all the methodologies, all the way we use to arrive somewhere or find out about something or know it or even experience it doesn't work. It actually is a hindrance to the recognition, really the recognition through recognizing what you're not and then finding out what you are. Yeah? So I found when I heard this stuff, I could see, hey, I got a sniff of something. Wait a minute, you know? And then when I would go to talks and people would try to describe the indescribable and they kept telling me what I was and I would feel good about it, but then it would dissipate quickly when I was driving home or after we went to coffee or something. And basically, the same established position was established again. It never really left. Everything was fit into its little cubicle. Instead of recognizing that cubicle as something foreign or something imagined or something that truly, in an ultimate sense, is not me. Yeah? And this is the whole message. This is why we show up every week, is to warn ourselves about how the system that's implying to be us reinvigorates itself. You would think, it's sort of like you knock down an opponent and you think it's over, and then you start walking back to your corner, and then he suddenly or she or he gets up. So then you just keep knocking it down. It looks like it's dead. It looks like it's finished. But as long as you're moving to the corner, you give it life, yeah? It's like the shadow. You can't punch out your shadow. You can't outrun the shadow. Yes? We're not seeing something. It's just simple as that. We're not seeing something. We're using what is seen to look for it. Yeah? I don't see how this doesn't... The obstacle isn't meant to jump over and succeed getting over it. It's meant to be like a stop sign. It's not at the beginning of an obstacle course, and this is your first Herculean quest. No, it's like a stop sign. It's meant for us to stop and be disarmed and recognize the futility of using what we call all of us to find what we are, being it all the while. Yeah, it's just, I'm hopefully, and it's a great day when that thing is exhausted. It's a great day where your exhale isn't blowing into that fucking imaginary shadow. Yeah, it's a great day when this is done. You have an understanding, and the understanding isn't, it's buoyed by a sense-feltness, yeah? It's not an understanding that's like hung by intelligence. It's buoyed. The understanding is lifted by sense-feltness, yeah? It's not held up by intelligence or knowledge. It's a different feeling, yeah? And there's much more assurance in that which is holding up the understanding than all the wires keeping it up, yeah? Because when life happens, it doesn't work, yeah? Where the rubber meets the road, it doesn't have an effect there. It has effects at coffee shops and hanging out and doing whatever, but it doesn't have an effect when it's most seriously, in a way, needed. It doesn't seem available. Yeah? So, non-duality, bam, knock two. If you look at all our functionings, you would see the two-ness of it, yeah? If you just look and see, duality isn't that difficult. We have tons of experiences of it. I have one as a broad experience, a life of addiction, and then recovery from that life. That's a pretty interesting swing, yeah? But they're all of the same coin, yeah? The one side was addiction, then it goes swings to recovery, yeah? There's seeming birth, and then there's death. There's night and day. There's hot and cold. There's close and far. And the mental state is a binary system. I compare, yeah? Everything that's met, like the cat or the dog, when it meets something, it smells it. What happens when the mental state meets something, it conceptualizes it, yes? It frames it. It wants to know it. So that it's not a threat. Then the aliveness of that isn't a threat. So it knows it. It knows it. It knows it. It knows it. That's not helping us in this condition, in this state. It's not. Not with this topic. So it's not that we haven't done enough. It wasn't directed by a superpower master. None of that. There's a mistake that's constantly getting reinforced. Yeah? And without knowing it, we are the engine of it. We are what's doing it. It's almost as if we're looking at all the plans of building the fucking sandcastle, and then in actuality we're knocking it down. But we keep studying the plans, and yet you're knocking it down. Yeah? So, and if you don't understand some of these cryptic sayings, keep coming back. We're like a lazy Susan. Something's going to jive one night where the thing will get directly through it and hit the innermost. And one day, after hearing it 1,000 times, the simple statement of Huang Po, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving, will land. Yeah? Will land. And once that lands, it triggers a knowledge or an understanding of the other cryptic statements. They start it's like being whispered a new language. It's not a huge amount of words, it's just a whack, yeah? But you have the ears to hear it now. Here, go to these talks. So many people, when I was doing it early, would get in touch with me and say, oh, now when I read what's his name or this book or that book, I understand it a lot better. That's exactly what it's like, yeah? You put this out, put this out, and there's going to be enough impressions that land that are going to seek expression. That's a dualistic movement, yeah? Enough impressions occur, they seek expression. So, I'm happy to be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. All right, well, let me read another little thing from another Zen guy, yes? I'm not going to give you a name because then you'll run out, try to read a book by it or something. Just listen to this statement. It's pretty nice. It says, because it is so close, you don't notice it. Yeah? Because you don't notice it. Well, hey, why don't you notice it? Well, you haven't practiced enough. You haven't purified enough. No. Why you haven't noticed it is because it's too close. It's so close. Yeah? Because it's so close, you don't notice it. When you open your eyes, you see with it. When you open your eyes, you see with it. Yeah? However, if you imagine you can find it by thinking about it, you just missed it by 1,000 miles. Where the 1,000 miles? There's no 1,000 miles We play the role of the 1,000 miles when we try to get it, when we try to think about it, when we try to have it, when we try to experience it, when we want it to stabilize. We're giving it the imaginary 1,000 miles. Yeah. That's why when you get left with your own devices and you see they're not your own devices, you'll lose interest in they're being used to point to bring you to a certain conclusion. You lose interest in that conclusion. You do. And now you're open. Now you're in the Zen mind of I don't know. And then you'll freaking find out. Yeah? All right? Open the squares.
Rob's got his hand up.
I like to ask him if he had his hand up before the end
I
of
did.
it. All right.
I did. Do it halfway through.
Yeah, that's good. I can see it.
It's funny when you were talking, it just came to mind, and then what you exactly said. I was just reading. This is Nisargadatta, so I just want to read a little. It's actually just a little piece.
Yeah.
Maharaji says.
Say it very slowly.
Can you hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, first you create a world, then the I am becomes a person who is not happy for various reasons. He goes into a search of happiness and meets a guru who tells him, you are not a person. Find out who you are. He does it and goes beyond. And then the questioner asks him another question. Why doesn't he do this from the very start? And Maharaji, this is the important part. Maharaji says, it did not occur to him. He needed someone to tell him. Was it enough? It was enough. Why doesn't it work in my case? You don't trust me. So he's saying it directly right to him, just like exactly what you just said. And then the message gets through, instead of searching for it. So he just keeps saying it over and over.
That's right. Repetition's helpful. Now, the one little bent we have, and maybe it's very peculiar, but I don't believe so, but let's say it's emphasized more in Western conditioned than other areas, that the speed of the selfing is so quick, you can't talk to us about what we are, because what we're not will establish itself as the hero of it, yes?
Yeah.
We have to go about it, we have to look in a different way. The looking is there, but we have to look in a different way. We have to see what we're not to arrive at what we are. And when you arrive at what you are on having never left, yes?
Yeah.
But it is almost like there's an arrival, but when there's the arrival, it tells you you never left. So obviously there was no arrival. But in a way, to go nowhere seems like a journey. Because our normalcy is to be going somewhere all the fucking time, yeah? To go nowhere seems like a journey, in a way. So, to how we saw it, I would hear these things by Nisargadatta. I didn't hear that one. But I would hear things, and there would be, the first ember would catch, and then something blew on the fire and put it out. The blowing on a fire was meant to get it going more, but it blows it out. Yeah? I figured, wait a minute. Like Ramana said, if this non-existent thing that's been given the credence of existence, as if it's the one that's existing, yeah, doesn't know that it's a non-existent thing, yeah. If that existence doesn't know that it's not this non-existent thing, then the spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? It's the same thing. Yeah? They're all basically speaking in their own words about the basic conundrum. Yeah? Because we've been in this dreaming, and basically in the dreaming, in duality, to know something is to experience it, let's say, or study it, or understand it, because it's something other than us, yeah? But you can't apply that to what you are, because you are that. See? What you're not has the topic of what you are as something to study, as something to experience, as something to practice, as something to know. But you are that, you see. That's the dilemma. So you have to see, well, what's christening all these ships that are always taking off for the long fucking journey? It's definitely not what we are. Maybe it is, but appearing in what we're not. So let's just see what we're not, and then see where it takes you. Yeah. For me, it was the buoyancy of the understanding. I didn't need intellectual wires to keep it up. It was a sense feltness that raised it. Yeah. In other words, the sense feltness was there to begin with, and then it came up with a skim on top of it, which was an understanding. Yeah. But the weight of the ocean wasn't the understanding. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what we're not though required to see like a tool? What we're not required to see what we are though, because without that we couldn't do it.
That way, if nothing else is working.
Yeah, because we couldn't see it, right?
Exactly.
Like you could.
We're not hearing it. We're not hearing when there's been some incredible descriptions of the indescribable. Yeah. People have spent months in places hearing descriptions of the indescribable. Yeah. They have. It hasn't worked, obviously.
But what we're not has to hear, like it hears it at some point though. What we're not does hear it at some point and realizes it.
No, what you're not feels like the sonar or an echo
Okay.
from what you are. It echoes through what you're not. What you're not is hollow.
Like a realization.
The realization echoes or it hits what you're not, almost like sonar. Yeah?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Puts a buzz in it, but what you're not's empty. Yeah. Yeah. But in a weird way, it seems like, just like in recovery, we were talking to a lady from Norway on Tuesday or Thursday. It was a nice conversation. So she had obviously been in AA for a while, and then the recognition that she's not an alcoholic, yeah, that's not what she is. And so I'm saying, yeah, but this is how it went. When I had active addiction, there was a huge denial of all that, yeah? My whole life was a denial of things I was afraid to be true. Like, I'm a fucking loser, I'm an asshole, I'm a parasite, I take advantage of people. So the whole strategy of my head at that point was to deny shit, yeah? Shit that seemed so real, I try to make it unreal. Not knowing I made it more real, yeah? So when I got into recovery, all that stuff was able to land. I wasn't such a moving target. It landed, and I felt I'm fucked, yeah? Which I was. I'm an asshole. I'm an alcoholic. But it doesn't stop there. Once you allow what you've been trying to deny and disown to be as real as it wants to be, you see it as unreal, you see? There's a third phase. It isn't like, oh, I denied that, now I'm going to admit I'm an alcoholic, and then it stays like that. No, it's I was trying to make something not so, I allow it to be so, and then I see it as not so. There's like a trinity there, yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, I feel a lot of people only take it the first two.
Oh, okay.
Yes? So
Yes.
There's another one, the same thing with this. It's not like, oh, I see what I'm not, and that's what I am, but what I am will be framed as what you're not again. So you catch that, yeah? And then the third one, is where the real relief is, in a weird way. Yeah?
That's the mountain thing, right? Mountain, no mountain.
People see self, let's say. They see there's a lot of troubles, and their appetite opens through some circumstance or life or trauma, and now they see a lot of what they were looking from, and it explains itself why they were in such angst or whatever. So now they've recognized self, yes? or maybe they call it an ego, and they start blaming that, or they think that's the source of a lot of the trouble. But they don't realize the seeing of that has been commandeered by the mental state. Yeah?
Hmm.
And now the seeing has triggered the sense of being the seer, which is self. So now self is now seeing self.
Yeah.
And this is the thing we say in the community of recovery: self can't get out of self. Now, that's so obvious, but if one of those selves is called Paul, it makes a whole lot of sense to Paul to keep trying to get out of self. Yeah? That's what its whole life was, trying to get out of self. But I thought I was trying to get out of self as Paul, but that was self. Yeah? You see? So you get to
Yeah.
see the one. Without seeing the one, you wouldn't bring out of the weeds the second self. You wouldn't. Yeah? You wouldn't.
Yeah. You wouldn't see it.
There's a recognition of one side of the coin, and then suddenly the other side of the coin appears, and you can catch that. That's when things get stabilized in a way. Yeah? When you catch
Gotcha.
self appearing to be the seer of self.
Hmm.
Yeah? That's like, see, there's the one, you're pushing the rock, right? You see self, but then it doesn't set off an avalanche, and you're fucking wondering why. If self's the problem, I've noticed it, I understand it, yeah? I recognize it. Where's all the fucking joy? Where's the happiness? No avalanche has started because that which saw self has been forgotten, and now there's a seer of self. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the second rock. When that
Okay.
moves, an avalanche occurs.
Okay.
Yes? That's when you start having a sense feltness about it. That's when you're not intellectually established, you're established. Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
Excellent.
same thing, but it's the same. It's like a dance. 1 2 1 2. Now it may go 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Yeah, right. But it's the
Yeah.
1 2. Yeah. There's the seeing of what you're not, and then that's claimed from the point of being what you're not. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you catch it again, and then you, after a while, you don't need to catch it. You've seen through it. Yes.
Sure, yeah.
If you see
You just
one,
are it.
it's gonna be the other.
And that's dog shit awareness, right?
Yeah, you don't see duality
Aware.
like this.
Yeah. Open awareness.
You see it with both eyes. Yeah, this way
Okay.
you. Oh, I see the ego. I see the self. That's the cause of all my trouble. No, no. And you'll know the tree by its fruits. If you
Yeah.
start having more accessibility to that innermost or whatever, if you start knowing
Traveling light.
serenity and peace and chilled outness, you're on to something. Yeah. Those are effects moving through the action figure. They're not caused by the action figure, and the action figure isn't having them. They're being expressed through the action figure, like
It's
squeak,
not
you know?
it's not CNN, it's Comedy Central.
Definitely. At CNN, fucking news, headquarters constantly ticker taping now is seen as Comedy Central. It's the same data.
Yeah.
Just provokes laughter now, and and that reaction because it's hilarious. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really. You would think something could only take so much being wrong, but no, it's a glutton.
God.
He'll keep on
Hamster
keeping.
wheel.
It doesn't learn really because it's
Yeah.
mechanical. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mechanical. It doesn't learn. It really doesn't. Yeah,
Computer. Yeah.
it can learn particulars. It doesn't see pattern. It doesn't see that it really believes that if it could cut the coin, it could get to a one-sided coin.
Yeah. That's why I always like to go to the thinking part, like Wang Po says, whatever you're aware of, you can't be that. And the thoughts, once you become aware of any particular thought, you can't be it.
Yeah, but you have enough of that. All you got to do is see what you're not. You got all the evidence of what you are. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not allowing it to trigger and become
Yeah.
established in this little storm of time, yeah,
Hmm.
is because the what you're not is jumping in. So
Yeah.
just see selfing. Selfing is a many splendid gift when you recognize it. Yeah, really. I mean, I'm just sharing what's happened with me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I'm trying to share how it makes sense to me. Not to me, but makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
And and just try it on, see if it works.
Cool.
I don't believe hearing about what you are, you don't need any more. You've heard about what you are. You've read about what you are. Yeah? You've read mythic spiritual sagas about what you are.
Mhm.
Yeah, just see, instead of seeing from the product self, see the selfing. Yeah? The selfing is what needs to be understood. There's no need to understand self because there isn't one. Self is just an add-on. It's the self. The selfing is the activity of self. Yeah,
It's like it's inferred and it creates the noun. Yeah.
exactly. Well, it doesn't create. It implies it's already so. See,
Okay.
that's the trick. It's always in a making of something it can never make. So what it does is implies it's already made. It's a trip. It does.
Yeah.
It can't make its product. It implies the product's already made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the trip.
Pre-assuming.
Way presupposing, for sure.
Presupposing. Yeah. Presupposing.
Presupposing. That's exactly it. Yeah. So we used to use the thing, I was Paul, I will be Paul, therefore I am Paul. That's sort of
Mhm.
like the movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's Pauling, and what it's implying is there was Paul, and it also is implying there's going to be a Paul. It's going both ways.
Yeah.
And then therefore you start here or you're right here, I am Paul. Yeah. But the I am, the bloom of the I am isn't Paul. Paul's not the flower of the I am. Paul is a paper flower. It grew an imaginary pot called I was and I will be. Feel it. It's
Yeah.
not real. It has a scent of yesterday.
Yeah. It's true because it's never now. Yeah. It's never in that moment. It's
No,
always past or future.
passing through the moment all day.
Yeah.
Nothing
You
is
miss it.
passing through the moment all day.
Mm.
That's it, you think, see, it's saying there was a self and there's going to be a self, but you don't actually see any of it. That
Yeah.
all you see is selfing. You don't see the self. I've
Yeah.
never seen the self ever. I've never seen it. All you see is selfing in the
Yeah.
moment.
A verb.
The self is imagined, is remembered, yeah. It's worried about, which is another form of remembering it, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't appear.
Yeah. Imagines the dreaming.
Yeah, that's why, you knock on the door with who am I? If you're at a real door and you knock on it 500 times, you can pretty much guarantee no one's home. So,
Mm.
you know what I mean? The who am I is the same thing. Who am I? Me. Who's this me? Then nothing. Because that's what we are. Yeah? It's beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Rob. Good to see you.
Good to
I'm
see
going
you
to
too,
pay
man.
money for a shirt.
What's that?
I'm I'm gonna send you money for a shirt.
I got my. It's too hot today. It's too
I
muggy.
know. I know.
Thank you.
See you, Rob. Rob is synonymous with an acai bowl.
Yes.
A good one.
A
Good.
good- and some big waves. All right. We have two hands. It's always two hands.
It was 3.
All right, Mike. Let him.
Brandon?
It would be cool if it was like a gate and you had to open it, the square. All right, let him out.
Hey, Paul. This is Brandon. I spoke with you Saturday for the first time, and I spoke to you about the forgetting and the remembering of an awakening, and it's kind of what you were touching on a little bit there with Rob, how I thought I could see the self, but it was creating another self.
Yeah, not creating. It was making. It's making one.
Right.
You can't make it. It's again. I just shared. I shared. It's making implies it's already been so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost as if time was a current, and yet there was different. The same water was moving at different speeds. So the head arises, claims to be the one who experienced no self. Let's say
Right. Right.
it claims it, but what was there was awareness. Let's say call it that, and in the awareness, in a second or two, the mental state chirps up
Uh
and
huh.
says, "I'm the one who had the experience of non-self." Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it the seeing of the absence of self has now been commandeered and is being used to verify self. So it's claiming its own absence to verify itself. Yeah?
Right.
Yeah. So you see the robbery, that's all.
Yeah. Well, I just saw
Don't
it.
call it into the police because that will be self.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna tell you that's you were able to kind of guide me into that on last weekend or whatever, and so all week I've been able to recognize, and it makes a lot more sense of I'm not that because I can see it clearly. Oh, I'm not that.
Yeah.
I just noticed that the other day, and there's all this space that opens up that's just I don't have to. It's like what I thought I was turning into kind of an asshole, judging me about certain things spiritually. I'm not very spiritual if I'm not doing this or that, or if I'm doing a lot of daydreaming and thinking. It's like, whoa, you need to be present. Those kind of things. And then I was able to recognize, oh, I'm not that. So then after I was daydreaming this week, it was like no big deal. Who gives a shit? It was just it was just like whatever. And so it was just a nice recognition. But like you said, with the fighter that goes down, it gets back up. But you said it's just something that just keeps getting easier to recognize over time until it just
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it's the same thing. It can play with degrees, length of time, shit like that. But it's the same. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So hey, what you just shared is quite good, and don't root it with but and going into something else.
No, I feel good, man. No, I feel good.
All right, fantastic. Let's move to the next person.
Right on, right on.
We have Sanda,
And
Sanda. I see you now. Yeah,
And maybe you hear me now?
I can hear, but I can't hear you. Not put up the volume if you can.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Is it better?
It's a little
Is it
better.
better?
Yeah, a
Is
little
that
better. I like that
okay?
roof you're under.
Oh yeah, you will like even more what is in front. I think I will show you. It's a little bit foggy. I don't know.
I
Do I
see it.
see? Yeah. No, no, no. Now maybe you will see it.
Yeah. Wow. A huge mountain. Where are you?
Exactly. Guess which mountain that is.
It looked like the one in Japan, but no.
Arunachala.
Oh, Arunachala. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I thought the
Greetings.
Japanese had bought that and moved it over to Japan.
So is it? There is only maybe one mountain on the end or on the beginning. Beginning and the end.
Oh, good. So you're living over there.
Yes, since 11 years.
11. Wow. Fantastic.
And with this 11 years, you know, and not, before that, you know, I was in love with this message with but nobody pointed out as you do this thing what you are doing, you know, emphasis of who is hearing it is the false one. Yeah?
Mm.
So really I appreciate very much that. What I want to add to it is it's emphasis on that when it's meant to happen, it will happen. When it's not meant to happen, you can do whatever you want, it will not happen. So I'm the best proof, I'm the proof of it. You know, it could happen 1,000 times to be established in that what in the isness simply did not happen all these years, all these decades. And you know, whatever path we choose does not matter. In one moment you recognize something through your path. Recognition was there. Yeah? So by me, I was a little bit, you know, on that, you know, in that state, and then went away. Even understanding was there, but was not this, how you call it from down, self-feltness. Self-feltness did not occur, did not happen. So yeah, this is what I want to share. When it's meant to happen, will happen.
Well, great. Well, you have to bring your roof and come back.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really, thank you so much for this. You
You're
know,
more than welcome. You just gave us a lot. And you're in the same set of squares with Brahmi, who's down at the Ganges. She's,
oh,
yeah, she's somewhere, yeah, so I got a whole lot of India here. That's nice. I'll see you,
yes,
Sunda.
yes, yes.
Yeah? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good.
so much. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
All right, we got Patricia K.
That's me here in Vancouver. So I heard a story today that brought to mind what you do for us, Paul. And I know at one point you described yourself as a mailman because you're like delivering a message. But the story I heard today that reminded me of you made me feel like what you're offering to us is like if you stay in a fancy hotel and you ask for a wake-up call, then the concierge knocks on your door and goes, wake up in the morning, right? So the story I heard was your friend is having a dream, and it's he's dreaming that he's in a national park, let's say Yosemite or something, right? He's in the national park. He's being chased by a bear. Oh my God, it's a huge bear. He's running. He's out of breath. the bear is gaining on him. It's really scary. Like he's just panicking. He's crying out for help. Your friend is saying, help me, help me, help me, call a park ranger, like help me. The bear is gaining on me. So your friend, how do you help your friend? How do you help your friend? So do you call a park ranger, or do you wake up your friend and say, hey, 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 you're having a dream?
I let the bear get him.
So I feel like what you do for us is sort of, you know, I know I've talked to you other weeks. I'm like, Paul, I just want to be enlightened. You know, people say, I don't know who I am. Like, I just want to know my true self. I mean, you know, I'm sure over the years, you've heard people with an infinite number of variations of the same thing, but you're not saying, oh, I'll call you a park ranger. Oh, I'll sign you up for a retreat. Oh, I'm going to buy you a book, or this, right? You're just saying, hello, knock, 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 wake up, right? So Paul, like, I so appreciate you. And like, I just really appreciate what you do for us.
All right, well, honey, here, let me share one thing.
Okay.
That job of knocking on the door, yeah, and saying wake up has a limited edition, yeah? Then we're going to have to just go through the door and have coffee, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the point is, what we're really saying here, you don't need to wake up because you are awake.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't want to emphasize that you are awake because what you're not is saying it's the hearer of that, and therefore it doesn't go anywhere. We just want to turn and see what false evidence we've been fed, yeah, that's give us a starting point of being unawake with the possibility of maybe doing enough and purifying long enough and acting really well and doing this and doing that, and we can become awake. Yeah? So even the knock on the door is too much in a way. Yeah? Because this is a fact. We are awake. Well, let's say there's awakeness, yeah? And then there's a seeming fact. It's appearing to be true to us. Some of us, it's appearing to be true that we're not awake. Yeah? Because we have given certain things the weight of evidence to imply that. Yeah? Well, I had thoughts today, or I was like passively aggressive towards my girlfriend, or whatever it may be. Yes? And so you get disqualified like a little buzzer. So now you seem, yeah, not awake. Yeah. So it's appearing to you, as you really, that you're not awake. But that has no ability to affect the fact that you're awake. None. Yeah? Now that which believes it's not awake may dream of becoming awake, may want to become awake, yeah? May believe that it's had experiences of being awake and it just needs to do enough work to get that fucking stabilized, yeah? That's still, all of that is reinforcing the idea that you're not awake. So the starting point is what's making the whole journey off, yeah? The fact is we're awake, yeah? What can be seemingly happen is there's an appearance that I'm not awake, and yeah, or there's an appearance that I'm awake. Neither of them change the fact, yeah, that you are awake. Yeah. So it may seem better to have the appearance that you're awake, but that could come into question also, yeah, because the appearance of being awake is just like an appearance of not being awake. There's awakeness. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And so we're just attempting to bring us back to where we never left, like the starting point. And then maybe from there, what used to look confusing won't look confusing because it wasn't what we looked at that was confusing. It was how we were looking that is confusing. Yes? So now, like Zen, they would say, suddenly blue appears to be blue, red is red, things are simple, clearer. Yeah? Because the agitation, the obscuring activity, the hand in front of the face, moving, yes, has been seen through. The face hasn't moved one bit. The clarity is not shaking. It's this, yeah? So now we've lost interest in this, and then you gain interest in, and therefore this whole idea of, this is an insane idea that I was moved by when I was younger, getting into the moment. Exactly, sounding like sirens. Getting into the moment, yeah? And then I used to make jokes about it, but there would be books about how to get into the moment. And then you'd read those books, and then you'd order the second one, how to really get into the moment. And then on and on and on and on and on. But it's all predicated on an insane idea that you could be out of the moment, yeah? So you know how it worked that way? It implies that you are already out of the moment. Therefore, there's a desire to be in a moment. And he switches that around, which is, it implies you're already in self, and now you need to get out of self. Yeah? It's the same movement. One goes this way, one goes that way. It's dualistic. Don't you see it? Yeah? This way, I wanted to get into what I can never be out of, which is moment. And the other one is I want to get out of what I can never be in, which is self. You see it? It's like, those things you shake, the cucarachas or something? It's like the same. They're the same. There's a different beat, One is the beat goes out, the other one the beat goes in, but it's the same. Yeah? So if you don't swallow one, you'll see that you won't swallow the other. Yeah? If you swallow one and try to spit out the other forever, that the other is going to be very fucking stubborn and persistent. It's going to keep fucking appearing. Yeah? Yeah. So,
Yeah, they're like bookends of the same story, right?
well, this is what non-duality is negating. It's negating the reality of all those dualistic movements, yeah? If you can get a feel of a few of them, you'll be able to apply that feeling to a lot of them. It's just like in AA, we have a thing called an inventory process, where you're going to look at manifestations of self in one's life. And so let's say it's fear. So you take a 4-column thing and you write down, I'm afraid of being destitute, right? Let's say. The second one, you don't have any really reason to be afraid of being destitute. You're well off, everything's fine, because it's coming out of the mind. There's not a reality of you being destitute today. Yeah? But there's a fear today of being destitute. Yes? And then the third thing is the agenda that it's affecting. Yeah, who wants to be destitute? Maybe I'll never get a date again. Who wants to come home to the refrigerator box, in the alley? Yeah? You see it? And then the fourth column is you see your role in things. Yeah? Yeah? I don't know where I was going with that, but it sounded pretty good. So you see your role in things. Why was I doing that, Mike? What was I doing the inventory for?
I forget.
I just lost it. It doesn't matter. Hold on. Someone's helping me. Oh, no. He's got to go. Whatever. I was trying to get to a point, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. The out and in, the in and out. You have to see it. If that way. If you saw your role in things, right? At the fourth column, you finally see your role in things. Then you can write 800 of them down. Yeah. This is why I had a fear, because of that, my instinctual agenda. This is the root of it: selfishness, self-centered, frightened. You don't need to go through every example of duality. You see a few of them, and then you see the whole principle of it. Yeah? That you don't go, it's not like first grade, second grade, third grade. It's first grade and then boom, master degree. This mind doesn't work with the sum of the numbers is bigger than all the numbers, yes? So 1, 2 equals 2 and 2 equals 4, 2 and 2 equals 4, and then suddenly 2 and 2 equals 180,000. Yes, now you have a sense of duality. And now non-duality is so fucking clear. Yeah. All right, we have Jack. Jack G is at his campsite. Campsite, yes.
Hey, Paul.
Look,
Yeah, that's
they're in some fucking, I don't know what it is, like a bear's den or something.
can you see at least my glasses?
I
Good.
can see a flickering light.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the first readings that you did really reminded me of that saying that I've heard in program, which was don't worry if you don't get the program will get you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I gotta say that I think that's been my whole approach um, to these teachings on non-duality. It's like I've tried not to like over analyze it too much, and tried not to kind of nitpick it and try to figure everything out and try to get the next thing and always grasping, you know. That's how I have not done it. And it just works better for me that way. I just try to get the download through the teachings, and I don't have to get everything all at once. It's like it's like every Zoom meeting that I've been to with you, I get a few things, maybe just small things, and then the next meeting I get a few more things, and then after about a month I get this huge hit, and it's like I'm not chasing after the next one. That was like my first reaction my first thought. It's like, yeah, don't do that. Just keep listening and get the download, and it's just been a great approach for me, and it's been really working really good. So thanks. I guess I really don't have a question, but
Fantastic, Jack. Now, Jack, you
yes.
were talking about a month or so in the world of squares, I think, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, I remember you. Yeah, you're carrying a lot of weight in the square world. I'm very happy you've shown up, and yeah, very good. Thank you for your contribution to this whole thing.
Thank you, Paul. I thank you very much.
You're welcome. I don't know what that is. Some metallic insect or something. All right. Mike, anyone else? No?
No more. Judith is waving.
Judith, all right. Let's turn Judith loose. Unmute yourself, hon.
Aloha, Paul. Thank you so much for this twice a week that I get to see you. I was reading once a while back. I was listening to, I was reading Nisargadatta, and Nisargadatta said to awaken, to know that you're awake or be self-realized, just open the window. It's like opening the window, open the window. And then I looked at the window of my consciousness or whatever, and I felt like, oh well, maybe intellectually I could open up the window. And then I went through a bunch of ways that I could possibly open up the window. Then I listened to Paul Hedderman, and Paul says, oh, it's already open.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the window is open. You don't need to open it, honey. And then I was like, well, yes, I know it intellectually. Okay, I know it intellectually. But then I once looked at my window and I went like, wow, it's really open. Darn, the whole thing was open all the time. And I could go back as far as I can remember that the window was open. But then the window closed again, and I went to fight with my window. I was struggling to get it open again, but I was realizing that it's open. But of course, the fight was good. And now, when I see the window open, it's beautiful. When the window appears closed, I know that it's not real, that is open. And when I get in the ring with my window, I know that I'm an illusion, and my window is an illusion also. So it's okay. We're just ghosts. And I try to not pay attention to whether it's open or closed, because it's closer. I have a feeling that the whole thing is just so close that surely it would go unnoticed. Sure, yeah. Your messages are beautiful, Paul. Thank you so very much. You've been such an integral part of my feeling really good about myself and stop seeking so much. God darn, I was one of the true seekers. My life was going really well on every level except for this longing and yearning that has subsided in such a huge way since I started attending the Zoom meetings and listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to point something out.
Yeah,
You can see through a closed window and an open window.
yeah, true. Yeah, true. That is so true, isn't it? Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Open the window could be redundant.
Paul, that is the case. It is. The whole thing is so redundant. It's like we are who we are no matter what state the window is on. It's beautiful. Thank you for, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Judith.
Okay.
You don't know, I've become very fond of these squares. It's great.
Mahalo nui.
Aloha. Yes.
Have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Yeah, I'm expecting to.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Anyone else, Mike? If not, I'll start saying goodbye. Judith is a good one to end the night on, I think so. All right. Hey, Mike, thank you for everything you do. Send me the Polish guy and I'll, you can just start forging my signature and shit. Just right well. Go all the way. Yeah. All right, Kerry. Nice to see you, Kerry. I hear you're in Montana, Kerry. Have you been riding a horse today? No? All right. Judith, nice to see you. Rob, thank you for inciting an answer out of me. That was good.
Thank you, Paul.
Jack G, yep. One day you'll have indoor lighting soon. It's coming. We got Brandon, the Jesus Christ mannequin, very good. Yeah. I want to, tailor some robes. We can use him. We got,
I'll get right on that. I'll be on that.
yeah, Patricia, let the healing continue. Woohoo! Dennis, nice to see you. It's always a pleasure to see your son when he comes. All right, let me go to, we got Coco. Coco's visiting us from Canada. Yes? Thank you, Coco. Good to see you. I'm still waiting for that raw dessert to be shipped by a Federal Express. I'm not giving up hope. Zoe's now sort of horizontal today. Yes, always good no matter what. Standing, sitting, laying down. It's fine. The Mr. and Mrs. Void are here. Yeah. George seems to be closer to the void or the screen. And the miss is just resting in voidness. That's good. Deepak, nice to see you, Deepak. I hope all this talking is allowing you to travel a little lighter. That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah. Michael, nice to see you again. Z, I'm sorry I didn't remind you, but you were reminded. Z, yeah. Call us in the morning and come over for coffee, maybe. Yeah? All right. Fritz, nice to see you. Oh, so I didn't even know that was a Runchala, man. What a terrible inviter I am.
Yeah, no problem.
It looked like the hill outside Novato here.
It's California Aranacula, right?
We got Kelly. I can't see him either. I'm just going to assume that he's in there somewhere. Keith, nice to see you, Keith. You're inside today. Yeah? That's good. Good. Keith, maybe you want to come over tomorrow too. I'll call you for coffee. Yeah. We got Sanda. Oh, she's moved out of, she's in a house with a ceiling now.
Yeah, I was discharged the tablet, so I
Ah,
have to charge.
nice to see you, honey. Celia,
Yeah, thank
you look very comfortable. Are you ready? You're going to binge on Netflix tonight, I think. I recommend Bloodline, an old show. Very good. We got Brahmi, my other Indian friend. Nice to see you, honey. I hope I get to meet both of you in India. Not in India, but meet you sometime.
I met you once in LA.
You did?
Yeah, like in 2018 we were in like a church basement.
Well, that's usual, yeah. I'm usually in church basements.
Yeah, I was visiting my friend in LA and I heard you were there, so I took 3 buses. Took me about 3 hours to get down there, but it was really nice meeting.
Oh, great. Yeah, honey, thanks. I hope I get to see you alive again. Yeah? Yes? I hope to see you
I
alive.
do.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely.
James Lebowski. Are you all right? You're looking like, yeah. All right. Alan, my friend Alan. Do you mind if I say your last? I'll just call you Alan O. Alan O. And there's Yariv. Nice to see you, Yariv. Malcolm. Malcolm is in Nashville now? I thought Malcolm was from England. I don't know. Sue Kempton and Nancy. We got, let's see, who else are there's some people that never show their faces, but it's all right. Everyone, Stacy, everybody, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Mike Cervini. It's a privilege to be given this opportunity to share some time with all of you. Thank you so much. All right. Bye. And I
Thanks,
think
Paul.
we'll we'll have the site open for a while. Mike? Mike. See you guys. Yeah.
Thank you,
Adios,
Paul.
man.
See you, Mike. Hey, Mike, you gonna keep it open for a little while?
Yeah.
The room? All right. See you, everybody. I'll see you
Bye, Paul.
See you.
Thursday or Saturday or Tuesday.
See you
Wednesday.
Saturday, Paul. Thursday.
See you. Bye-bye.